Well, it's another year, it's another anniversary video. I feel getting more and more reflective, obviously nostalgic, with each passing year that I do one of these anniversary videos for what I consider to be the greatest video game, and in some respects, one of the greatest superhero characters of all time. Now, I'm gonna, we've heard over the decades of how Sonic is or isn't a superhero. My perspective is simply this. Yes, he is a video game character, but he has super speed. So are we to not look at Barry Allen, Wally West, both who have been the Flash? Somehow he's not a superhero and he has super speed? And Superman has super speed when he chooses not to fly or uses super speed whilst flying. I just find that the argument's a little bit redundant. I mean, Sonic is capable of running at the speed of sound. I consider that a superpower, so I consider him one of the greatest video game characters and one of the greatest superheroes. Your mileage may vary, but that is my opinion. And as I stated in last year's anniversary video, an opinion is neither right nor wrong. It's exactly what it is. It's an opinion. It's a subjective viewpoint. Facts, statistics, statements, and dates can be wrong, but opinions, they're not wrong, they're not right. They're just exactly that. They're an opinion. They're your personal viewpoint. That's that done with. Now, since the last anniversary video last year, which I'm glad to say this year I'm recording in somewhat better conditions, because last year, as I mentioned, it was as hot as a firecracker in this room where there was sweat pouring off my forehead and the temperature was in the low 30s Celsius, centigrade, whichever it's called these days. So imagine that in Fahrenheit. That's, There's toasty and there's good gosh, make it stop. Or for Winnaby, oh gosh, please make it stop, please make it stop, please make it stop. But, now since last year, we've seen the release of Sonic Mania. Awesome game, and I'm glad Sonic Mania Plus is coming out next month on physical release. And Sonic Forces. Now, I'm one of the few people that actually enjoyed Sonic Forces for what it was. I wasn't expecting anything stupendously amazing. I wasn't expecting anything to be groundbreaking or amazing. I just wanted a good game. And I got an adequate game. Sonic Forces to me is not as good in terms of the best. Say within the last 10 years of the best 3D Sonic games, here are Sonic Unleashed and Sonic Generations. Here is Sonic Forces. Now, that's just my opinion. Yours may vary. To this day, I still don't understand the flack that Sonic Unleashed gets. I mean, at the end of the day, they all asked for something different and something that would be an apology from Sonic 360. And, people, you're still complaining about Sonic 360 10 years later. Move on. That's all I'm going to say. Like I say, Unleashed, I enjoyed it for what it was, and it was a nice balance of the old school and the new school. So, yeah, that's all I have to really say about Unleashed. How Mania was handled, see, people could look at it as, oh, it's just a rehash, this, that, that's your opinion. I got what I needed out of it. It was a nice mixes of new and old flavors. You got the start of, say, things like Green Hill, Hydro City. I pronounced it as Hydrocity back in the day. I don't know why. And such levels like Oil Ocean, and I think Ice Cap feature. I think it did. And you'd have the respective classic levels start off the way as you remember them, but then adds the twist of going into these very reimagined stages of like the second act, and you think, okay, that's actually not bad. It's actually putting a spin on things. I love Studiopolis. The Act 1 theme for that score is so addictive, and T-Lobes, you are the master with regards to doing things like that. Although personally, Stardust Speedway Act 1, there's something about that that's just pure magic. You took what had been done with the original Sonic CD soundtrack for Stardust Speedway Act 1, but you made it your own thing, and it's kind of like how 90s gaming soundtracks would have been if it had kept the basic DNA of what had been done there, but evolved it slightly to where the old school audience could still appreciate it, but the new crowd can come and go, oh, that's good. Gameplay-wise, I gotta give it to Christian Whitehead and his team. They did what Sonic 4 Episode 2 could not do. They got the physics down perfectly to where it felt like you were playing the old school Genesis Mega Drive games from back in the day. Because one of the biggest things that let Sonic 4 down, the physics were very jarring. It would take a little bit of momentum to get Sonic going into his speed zone, and then it took a little bit of effort to slow him down, whereas with this, there was the right level of friction. It didn't take him much to get going, and you could slow down, and sometimes slow to a stop were applicable, and it didn't ruin the gaming experience whatsoever. So, and like I say, it was a perfect complementarity, if that's even a word, of, honoring what had been done before, but evolving it to the next level. And Sega, this has to be said, let Christian Whitehead and his team do Mania 2, because unlike Sonic Team, they know what they're doing. Just saying. But yeah, Sonic Forces I highly enjoyed last year. It gave me exactly what I was looking for. It gave me things that I was looking for that I didn't know I was looking for. Now, when a game is able to give you, not just games, but when any property is able to give you something unexpected that you didn't know you want, and then you wanted more of it at the end of the day, then you've done something right. So I was very pleased with that. Now for Sonic Forces, this is where I'm going to be constructive guy that will acknowledge what didn't work with the game, but at the same time try to be as, I don't want to say complimentary, but give advice to how the game could have been done better. The game, I want to be straight up with this, the game could have been moved along a lot longer. I just felt it was done and over with too short, because I think I beat that game within 3 hours. Now for a Sonic game to be beaten, first attempt, in that amount of time, that's not good. I mean, we appreciate that most Sonic levels are going to be short once you get the hang of what you're doing throughout the level, but you also want it to have yourself be tested and have it enduring, so you learn to pick up these little smarts of how not to do and how to do certain things for the next time, so, that would have been great. Classic Sonic, I'm beginning to understand why a lot of people felt he was kind of shoehorned in at the last moment, because if you compare how Classic Sonic played in Generations, or Sonic G, if you prefer, or SG even, and then compare how he plays in Sonic Forces, it's night and day. I felt his gaming mechanics was a little frustrating. Not to say that it wasn't enjoyable, but I did get the sense of it wasn't as anywhere near as polished as Generations was. I mean, Generations to me was not only a nice, faithful companion piece to the likes of Sonic Adventures 1 and 2 that had gone before, but it was a nice way of honouring the franchise's 20th anniversary. It was 25th last year, excuse me. No, 2 years ago, in fact. Excuse me again. So, yeah. There were, like I say, bits and pieces that didn't really make sense, and I didn't really like the way they retconned classic Sonic to where it tells us, oh, you're the Sonic from another dimension. It's like, I thought he was from the past. I suppose in one way that would make sense, because there are parallel opposites of whoever you go and see in different places throughout time and space. So supposedly there's an MJ Knight that is riding around in kit, turbo boosting and having fun each week. If so, how you doing? But, and whilst on the subject generations, I like the way that modern Sonic actually says hello to classic and just goes, hey, it's been generations since I've seen you. And I'm like, well done. Not, you know, classy gesture. Now, and on to the subject of voice acting for that game. Here's the thing. The Sonic game series is never going to be, like, given Oscar-worthy credences with regards to definitive voice acting. I think if you look back at, with regards to something like the first Sonic Adventure, you could tell they weren't focusing on voice acting so much. This is the best of the gaming series whereby everybody gave it the role for voice acting. Nobody whatsoever turned in a bad performance, so I can't knock anything with regards to that. With regards to graphics, I do feel like, particularly since, say, Sonic 360 or Sonic Unleashed, graphically, with regards to in-game footage and then to cutscenes, I feel like it's gone back to a kind of cartoonier place. Whereas with Unleashed, when you would see the, the full-on polished cutscenes, they look great, they look magnificent. Here, I just feel like they're trying to bring it back down to a cartoony level. That's just my take on it. One of the other reprising features of the game is they create your own avatar. Now, in doing so, Sonic Team kind of opened a Pandora's box with that, because I think I remember Random saying something at one stage saying, it may as well just be DeviantArt the game. But then again, fans for many years have been saying, oh, we could create a better Sonic character, and Sonic Team basically just handed them the keys to the car and said, go nuts, think you can do better? There's your chance. And unsurprisingly, I created my own version of Sally Acorn. Like you were surprised. And that's the other thing about Forces. It is basically Sonic SatAM, Sonic SatAM, minus Sally. And minus Bunny, Rotor, and various others from the Archie series. The Avatar gameplay, I felt that was much more polished than, say, modern or classic. The Green Hill level where you essentially go into a metallic pyramid, because it's been a while since I played this game. Apparently the piece where you go boom boosting, and obviously, I chose Sally to be paired up with Sonic, because why not? I go with what works. I'd actually seen somebody playing this level whilst eating a sandwich, not having his hands on the controller. I'm like, okay, that's a problem. Again, it's not the worst of the worst of the worst Sonic games as far as I'm concerned. The two that are reserved for that I've played is Sonic Spinball and Sonic 360. As far as I'm concerned with those games, they can go jump into a frozen lake with concrete shoes filled with man-eating sharks. Those games, no. And as for Sonic Boom, I've never played the game, and I hope to never play it because somebody said that was worse than 360, and at the time I'm like, that is not possible. But their words, not mine. I didn't play it, and that perspective, thank gosh. And of course, for next year, we move on to new future horizons for the fastest thing alive, the Hedgehog with Attitude, with his debut live-action movie, with Tim Fowler in his directorial debut, with Deadpool director Tim Miller as executive producer. Now, considering Miller knows how to spend his budget accordingly with not a lot of money, I think he will definitely be able to do for Sonic what he did for Deadpool. Although I'm having this weird image now of Sonic breaking the fourth wall and making these weird comments whilst running around with a red and black mask and, you know, shooting people for no apparent reason. So Sonic Pool, or Pool Sonic. That'd be an interesting set of circumstances. But my concerns for the movie next year is, and I think this is especially important for Paramount Pictures, Sega, and of course Sonic Team to keep in perspective, given the very, very hit and miss track record with movie adaptations of video games over the years. I mean, just look at how often they've messed up the Resident Evil movie series with, from what I understand, and not too many too much source material from the games being used in the movies. And let's not forget the Super Mario Brothers movie from '93. Here's the thing. Good cast. You know, from the likes of the late and legendary Dennis Hopper to John Leguizamo and Bob Hoskins as Luigi and Mario respectively, because even though that movie was so bad, Bob Hoskins played a good Mario. I will grant the man that. But in terms of a movie adaptation, the movie was trash. That's just my take on it. I mean, there are things about it that where it's so bad it's good, but compared to something like Lara Croft Tomb Raider, which I consider one of the very few movie adaptations of a video game series to be successful, Mario, you know, the Super Mario Brothers movie doesn't even come close to that. And as I've said quite a few times down the years, the only time that Sonic the Hedgehog has had a movie adaptation done, albeit animation, was when ADV Films released Sonic the Hedgehog the movie, or Sonic the Anime, as I like to call it, in 1999, which was done as a means of hyping up Sonic Adventure for the Sega Dreamcast that year. And for a mid-90s anime, which is what it was adapted from a 2-episode OVA in Japan, it was what it was. It was a very dark palette anime at that time. Voice acting wasn't great. Writing, I think when Sonic Underground was more competent than the Sonic OVA, then there's a problem. I still consider SatAM to be the pinnacle of decent writing for any form of moving picture for Sonic, but you know, most people know me have that very strong bias towards SatAM because I think it's just how I like a Sonic series to be done. It's got the right level of lightheartedness, humor, tension, and high stakes. And again, I think Jim Cummings is the best Dr. Robotnik because you have to make the villain, in terms of quality, as good as the protagonist. And, you know, Julian Robotnik is evil incarnate, and that is how it should be represented. People have their own preferences and their own opinions of it. That's fine. I respect them. Don't agree with them, but I respect them. I mean, I love Mike Pollock. I really do. And I think he's mastered the role. Here's Pollock. Here's Jim Cummings. Cummings just that little bit better. Sorry, man. That's just my opinion. But, yeah, they've got to do it justice first time. And as mentioned on Sunday Night Live last Sunday, Sonic is going to be the main star and the main focus and the main character of that movie. It's not going to be like Transformers, where it's supposed to be about Autobots versus Decepticons, and then it's just these silly humans that actually take the spotlight. It's like, no. When you have a movie where your titular character is not the main focus, there's a problem. I mean, with Transformers Age of Extinction, I felt like that was the first real decent attempt since the first movie to get it right. Revenge of the Fallen is the second worst. The Last Night is the worst. Random actually enjoys that movie. I mean, that's up to him. He even enjoyed Cogman, which I'm like, okay, you're obviously drinking from a different form of Dr. Pepper than usual, bro. It's like, whatever you're drinking from that, I don't want anything to do with it. No. But James Marsden as the leading live-action actor in that movie, there is competency, because we've seen what he can do with the X-Men series. I've heard he's very good in Westworld, which is supposed to be one of the best decent TV sci-fi dramas we've had for a while. I've never actually seen it, but I've heard people speak very, very highly of it. So they're going more for talent and not so much star power, which I think is the right way to approach this, because I think when you apply too many big celebrity names, you're getting people just to go there for the celebrity names and not so much for the all-round quality of it. That's just my opinion, because at the end of the day, you judge the movie based on the merits of all the people involved, not just with the acting, but the director, the writer, and all that jazz. So to actually just go more for acting quality, now that's not to say that someone, say, like Chris Pratt or Bryce Dallas Howard are not acting quality. No, that's not to say that at all, because they're good, great character actors. But, it's in a similar vein to the first Jurassic Park. Spielberg went after good, honest actors. Not megastars, because that's not what he's looking for. He just wants to have realistic acting. And James Marsden is a very good, realistic actor. I enjoyed his performance of Scott Summers in the first two X-Men movies. The third movie, he was kind of just there because he was killed off in next to no time. But I enjoyed his performance of Scott Summers, having to put up with Logan's antics, hitting on Jean Grey most of the time, and trying to be that kind of moral compass in the second movie, and being, Professor X's right-hand man whenever he would go out for these public appearances. So I've got confidence that the Sonic movie will be done justice, and it's interesting that Sonic is going to be depicted as a juvenile delinquent for the movie next year, because as we all remember, in the early 90s when he first came about, particularly in the comics and particularly in Sat.AM, he was worthy of the moniker of the Hedgehog with attitude, because, some teenagers are like that, and who has more attitude than a juvenile delinquent? So I'm expecting whomever is voicing Sonic to be able to deliver that kind of sassy snarkiness that he is going to get himself in trouble with the law on quite a few occasions. And from the gist that I'm going to get from this is Robotnik is going to be the one to start the uprising of his empire, and Sonic will go through character development where he starts turning into the protagonist that we all know and love throughout the years, and becomes a freedom fighter and stands on his own 2 feet to stand up to Robotnik. So I think we're going to see that type of thing. It's been done before, but it's character development. So that'll be interesting to see next year. And from what we've been told is that Sonic's design next year is going to be it's still going to be very Sonic-esque, but it's going to be a new take and a new design. It's going to be somewhat realistic, and a lot of people are saying, I hope it's nothing like the Eddie LeBron design. Here's the thing, folks. If you're going to bring Sonic into a live-action, realistic environment, certain things with regards to physics, appearances have to apply. And what LeBron did for Sonic in his fan film, I felt like that was the best approach. He made him look a tiny bit more human, because let's be honest, if you took Sonic's physical physics that he has had in the cartoons and the games and doesn't have the plausible proportions, it's not going to work. It's the same reason whenever I see people do anatomically correct fan art, some specifically of Sonic and Sally, if you have Sonic's head the way it is, resting on his neck, it's not going to work. And same thing with Sally. A neck that small is not going to support the head. And Sally is one of those few characters, when she's drawn an art style anatomically correct, you still recognize her. Sonic is a little bit weird where you see pecs on him, but again, that's the trade-off. You want something a bit more realistic, be prepared to accept, how it will look. So, I'm going to be intrigued to see what we're going to get. I'm hoping we're going to get a lot of source material from the games with regards to badniks, motobugs, buzz bombers, crab meats, what have you. I know full well we're not going to get any references to Sat AM. I may be surprised. But, I just feel like, Paramount and Sega specifically will miss the boat by not putting in beloved characters that are in there. Now, a lot of things that some people have been asking are Tails, Knuckles, and Amy going to be in there? I think because this is going to be the first live-action movie attempt by a big major studio, I think they're just going to primarily focus on Sonic, and I think, and as I mentioned last week on Sunday Night Live, they'll probably, because if they set this up to do multiple movies, they'll bring maybe Tails and Knuckles in the next movie, and then slowly bringing new characters as the series progresses, because they're going to be CG. Let's just not kid ourselves. And CG costs money. I think what will happen is at the end of this movie, we'll probably see something in the background, and you'll just see two tails. The top of two tails just going into a bush, and I'll be like, okay, Tails is going to be in the next movie. And say at the end of the second movie, you see something punch through the wall, and it's Knuckles' fist with his trademark Knuckles in them. Or, at the end of the third movie, you'll see Amy's trademark Pico Pico hammer. And I had it my way in the fourth movie. You'll see, it'll go into a close-up shot where you'll see Nicole on a desk, and then the last thing you'll see is the back of Sally with her trademark red hair. So, that's the thing. It's the best way to approach it. But yeah, Sonic does seem to be on a very, very slow but very steady comeback, because Sega do seem to be listening again in places. And as mentioned before with regards to the Freedom Fighters for IDW, Hughes has mentioned that the door is not closed. They just want to focus mainly on the primary cast from the games, from Sonic to Amy, the Chaotix, Shadow and Rouge, and what have you. And I think that's, as much as I would prefer to have Sally and Co. brought back in, I think it's wise just to slowly build the comic from the ground up, just so that once you've got the primary cast settled, then they can go full on and start bringing in some beloved and classic iconic characters back. Because even Ian Flynn is a huge fan of the freedom fighters. To my understanding, he's somewhat of a big fan of Sally as well, so he's okay in my book. But again, it's got to be done steadily, because I believe the distinguished expression says it best: do it in baby steps, because by the time you've actually gotten to your intended journey, destination, target, call it what you will, you feel like you've achieved something, and I think that's probably what they're just trying to do. So, yeah, that'll about do it for this anniversary video. Sonic, my boy, you're 27 years young. Where has the time gone? The only thing I'm looking for specifically in the near future, I know that they're doing a deal with, I don't know if it's pronounced Puma or Puma, with regards to the sneakers. I know they got a deal with them, but folks, come on. Just give us what we want, an actual proper pair of replica of Sonic's high tops. Red sneakers with the white stripe and the white sock at the top. Not that very cheap version that they were selling in Japan last year. Give us the real McCoy. Give us the authentic, genuine article. And I know what someone say, well, they did that as a pair of slippers. We don't want the slippers. We want the sneakers. We want the sneakers, damn it! But all looks good, and don't be surprised if for late 2019 or early 2020 we will see a video game adaptation of the movie. Don't be surprised, folks. Don't be surprised. But until then, happy 27th anniversary, Sonic. You're still my favourite. And who knows, maybe one day we will actually see a realised fan crossover with you in Jurassic Park, like Bayona Productions tried to do one year. I'd still like to see that done, but we'll see. Happy 27th anniversary, Sonic. You're still number one.